I'm much happier than I'm.
She was so forgettable that nobody noticed her walking through New York City. That same woman became the most iconic person of the 20th century. And the craziest part? She did it on purpose. Her name was Norma Jean. Not Marilyn, not the blonde, not the icon. Just Norma. She grew up bouncing between foster homes, feeling invisible, feeling like nobody. And honestly, for a long time, she was invisible. A quiet, mousy girl working in a factory during World War II. Pretty, but forgettable. Nothing about her screamed icon. But Norma had a decision to make. She could stay Norma, comfortable, quiet, unseen. Or she could build someone new. So she did something that most people are too afraid to do. She looked at herself critically, not with hate, but with vision. She studied how women who commanded rooms moved. She trained her voice to drop lower, slower, more intentional. She crafted a walk that made the whole world stop. She picked a new name. She built a signature style so specific that even today you can describe it in 3 words. She didn't just change what she looked like, she engineered how she felt to be around. And then she became Marilyn Monroe. And before you think this is just about aesthetics, the deepest part of her reinvention had nothing to do with what she wore or how she styled her hair. There's a woman who once spent a day with Marilyn walking through New York City, and she said this: Marilyn was completely unbothered. Nobody noticed her. She blended in. And then she turned to her friend and said, "Do you want to see me become her?" She didn't change her clothes. She didn't fix her hair. She just shifted something on the inside. And within seconds, cars were slowing down. People were stopping mid-sentence. Everyone knew that's her. Same face, same body, completely different energy. That's the reinvention nobody talks about. Because Marilyn didn't just change how she looked on the outside. She rebuilt how she believed she looked on the inside. And that belief leaked out of her so powerfully that the whole world felt it. That's what real reinvention is. It's not just the glow-up photos. It's not just the new wardrobe. It's a full reconstruction of your self-concept, the story you carry about who you are. You've probably been told by someone who loves you, by some feel-good quote, by the internet, just accept yourself as you are. And I need you to hear me when I say, that is the most comfortable and most dangerous advice you will ever receive. Because acceptance without intention is just stagnation with a pretty label on it. The version of you that's unhappy, she doesn't need to be accepted. She needs to be evolved. Think about it. You're not the same person you were at 14 or 17 or even last year. You are constantly becoming. So the question isn't, should I change? The question is, am I changing on purpose or just by accident? Norma Jean didn't wait for Hollywood to see her. She engineered herself into someone Hollywood couldn't ignore. And she did it with full intention. So what does your highest version look like? Not what society says, not what your ex thinks, not what your mom would approve of. You. What does she look like? How does she walk into a room? What career is she building? What energy does she carry? What does she eat, wear, do on Sunday mornings? Get specific, because if you can't picture her clearly, you can't become her. When a woman rebuilds herself from the inside out, your self-concept is the operating system running your entire life. It's the collection of beliefs you hold about who you are, what you deserve, what's possible for you, and it shapes every single thing. How you talk, how you enter a room, how you respond when someone disrespects you, how far you're willing to go for yourself. And the sneaky thing about self-concept is that most of us never chose ours. It was handed to us. By a parent, by a classroom, by a situationship that made us feel like we were too much or not enough. We just absorbed it, and then started living as if it were fact. But it's not fact. It's just a story that got repeated enough times to feel like one. An insecure woman walks into every room already defeated, not because the room is scary, but because she decided the outcome before she even got there. Change that inner story and the whole room changes with it. That's not motivation, that's identity. This is exactly why Beyoncé created Sasha Fierce. She said it herself, she's shy, reserved, nothing like the performer on that stage. But the moment she steps into that alter ego, she's operating from a completely different self-concept, one that says, I own this room. And so she does. You don't become your highest self by finding her. You become her by deciding she's already who you are, and then acting accordingly, every single day, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. So what does the 90-day reinvention actually look like in real life? First, you go silent. Not forever, just for now. Stop announcing the plans, stop posting every step, stop asking for opinions from people who haven't done what you're trying to do. Norma Jean didn't go around telling everyone she was reinventing herself into Marilyn Monroe. She just became her. Work in silence, let the results be the announcement. Second, you identify your dopamine drains, the things that are keeping you comfortable but keeping you stuck. The 3-hour scroll sessions, the group chats that are just everyone complaining together, the habits that are feeding the old version of you. Cut them, or at least reduce them. Your brain literally gets duller the more it's fed cheap stimulation. Third, you build one small, unbreakable habit. Not a whole new lifestyle, just one thing. One walk, one page, one glass of water first thing in the morning, one decision that says, I am choosing the higher version of me today. And you stack it, day after day, until the new version of you stops being something you're working toward and starts being someone you simply are. The thing about Marilyn Monroe that nobody talks about, she didn't stumble into becoming iconic. She constructed it, deliberately, obsessively. She engineered a voice, a walk, a laugh, a way of making every single person in the room feel like they were the only one she was looking at. She built a presence so specific, so intentional, that decades after her, the whole world still can't stop talking about her. And people act like that kind of magnetism is something you're just born with. It's not. It's a decision, repeated every day, until it becomes who you are. You are not a finished product. You are a project, a living, evolving, intentional project. And the most powerful thing you will ever do is stop waiting to be discovered and start building yourself like you already know exactly who you're supposed to become. Norma Jean didn't find Marilyn Monroe. She built her. So the question isn't whether you're enough as you are. The question is, who are you deciding to become? Because that decision, that's the only reinvention that actually matters.
See you in the next one.